Hey, what's up everybody? In this video, I'm going to review Jade Leech from the Twisted Wonderland series. His ability description is Jade Tsums appear that clear surrounding Tsums for big points when connected. Ultimately what that means is when you connect a long chain of Jade Leech, it's going to burst surrounding Tsums as well. The game demonstration that you're currently watching right now is a skill level 1 game demonstration played with the 5-4 boost on. So let's take a look at his stats. To activate his ability, you're going to need to clear a total of 19 Jade Leech off the screen. His minimum score is 70 with a maximum score of 1197. When it comes to the charge up, 19 is not too bad given his ability will clear a lot of Tsums off the screen during the ability time. And with a minimum score of 70 and maximum score of 1197, it's not too bad, it's on the average range. And actually the minimum score and maximum score is exactly the same as Floyd Leech as well. And if you want to get this Tsum to skill level 6, you're going to need to get a total of 36 copies of him in the premium box or using the skill tickets. And his ability is relatively simple. During ability time, it's going to change 3 Tsums into special Jade Leech Tsums. And these Jade Leech Tsums could be connected from very far away. So take a look at it here. Even though Jade Leech is not in the same area, you could connect them from far away. So they don't need to be next to one another. And again, if you connect those long chains, it's going to burst surrounding Tsums as well. And at skill level 1, it's going to change a total of 3 Tsums. Skill level 2, 4. Essentially, every single skill level you increase, it's going to increase by 1. And by the time you level him up to skill level 6, it's going to change a total of 8 Tsums. So you're going to be able to clear a lot of the Tsums off the screen. And before I go any further, if you guys are enjoying this type of content where I review Tsums, do monthly leaks, or go over the selection box and pick up capsules, please consider subscribing to this channel. Your subscription is greatly appreciated. And if you guys are looking for a community of Tsum Tsum players, you might also be interested in my Discord server. On the Discord server, you can ask for help, trade hearts, discuss different characters to use, strategies, or just talk about the game in general. You can scan this QR code on the screen to join the Discord server. I will also have invite links in the video description down below as well. Okay, so let's take a look at all 6 of the skill levels, starting with skill level 1, 2, and 3. At skill level 1, there's going to be 3 special Jade Leech, 4 for skill level 2, and 5 for skill level 3. And again, these Jade Leech could be connected from very far away, so they don't need to be next to one another. And that's part of the strategy. And when you are using Jade Leech, what you want to do is you want to be sure to use the overcharge effect. So ultimately, you want to start pressing the ability button as soon as you know that the next clear is going to activate the ability. By doing this, you're going to decrease the amount of Tsums needed to activate the next ability. So keep in mind, every single time you need to clear a total of 19 Tsums off the screen to activate Jade Leech's ability. But if you use the overcharge, that number is going to decrease. So depending on how many Tsums you actually clear and that gets carried over, that's going to be a new number, and that's going to be less than 19 if you use the overcharge effectively. And if you have Jade Leech at the higher skill level, the likelihood of you making a really long chain is very likely. And usually what happens when you make a really long chain is that the animation to clear the entire chain is going to take a little bit longer. But there is a trick to this. If you burst a bubble immediately after making a really long chain, it is going to speed up the animation. So make sure you have at least one magic bubble handy when you are connecting a really long chain using Jade Leech. By doing that, you'll be able to skip the animation. However, you don't want too many bubbles on the screen because having too many bubbles on the screen is going to decrease the chain length. So you want to make sure you just have roughly about 1, maybe 2 if you want, but definitely no more than 2 bubbles on the screen when you are connecting a really long chain using the special Jade Leech. The next thing I want to show you guys is a side-by-side comparison of Jade Leech's ability activated at the same time. So this is going to be the ability in full animation, or full speed I mean. What I'm going to do now is slow this down and talk you through what I'm actually doing here. So when you activate the ability, Jade Leech is going to change 3 random Tsums into the special Jade Leech Tsums. And these Jade Leech Tsums could be connected from very far away. So as you can see here, they're not necessarily next to one another. And what I recommend you to do is actually start either with a special Jade Leech, or you could even start with those regular Jade Leech and then make a long chain. And if you see it here that when you connect them, it does turn it white, so you know exactly where the Jade Leeches are. So once the chain is completed, as you see there at skill level 3, I didn't have a bubble handy, so the animation had to play through in its entirety. So make sure you have a magic bubble handy so that way you can burst the magic bubble to speed up this animation. So I'll play this through one more time in full speed so you can see what's actually happening here and why having a magic bubble is handy. And in terms of chain amount, that's really going to be dependent on how many special Jade Leech you have on the screen and where they spawn. So that number is going to be a little bit up to luck. So that's not really comparable at these skill levels. But the theory here is that the higher the skill level, the more likelihood you'll be able to go back-to-back abilities. Moving on to skill level 4, 5, and 6. And at these higher skill level, at skill level 4, it's going to have 6 special Jade Leech, 7 for skill level 5, and 8 for skill level 6. So at these higher skill level, make sure you have that magic bubble handy because likelihood your chains are going to be even longer. And if you don't have a magic bubble handy, the amount of time it takes for the animation to play through is lengthy. So take a look at skill level 5 there. It probably took a whole 2 seconds or maybe even 3 for the entire animation to play through. Whereas if you look at skill level 6, I had those bubbles ready, I just pop it right away and all the zooms drop right back down. So that's why having a magic bubble handy and speeding up the animation will allow you to make more clears every single time you activate his ability. Now in terms of the strategy for these higher skill level, it's going to be the same. You want to make sure you're using the overcharge effect to activate more abilities per game, and then again make sure you have that magic bubble handy. But don't have too many magic bubbles on the screen because they will get in the way of making a really long chain. And it's really that simple. Jade Leech is a very simple Tsum to use, but you will need to play fast. So if you are a player who can make really long chains really quickly, then Jade Leech could be a good option for you. So let's take a look at the abilities activated at the same time. Just like the lower skill level, I'm going to show you the animation in full speed first, and then I'll slow this down and show you what's actually happening here. And you could do a comparison on how many chains I made, and it's not going to be too different here because it really comes down to luck. At skill level 4, we're going to see a change of 6 Tsums. Skill level 5, we're going to see 7 special Jade Leech, and at skill level 6, we're going to see a total of 8. And because you are going to use the overcharge effect, you're going to see gaps on the screen. But that's okay because what ends up happening is as you resume or start to make those chains, Tsums does fall back into place. Just keep in mind where all of those special Jade Leeches are, so that way you can make a really long chain. So keep an eye out for how many chains I made here. At skill level 4, my chain was 33, skill level 5 it was 34, and finally at skill level 6 it was 38. And in theory, this amount is going to be dependent on where the special Jade Leech is spawned. So it really just varies. And if you have a lot of Jade Leech on the screen already, that will also change. Because during the ability time, any chain that you make is going to burst surrounding Tsum. So technically, even at skill level 1, it's very possible that you could get a chain of 45. If you have other Jade Leeches on the screen already, then it's going to burst surrounding Tsums. So it really just depends. That's another thing you could consider is if you already have a lot of Jade Leeches on the screen and you don't need to charge up anymore, you might want to just burst 1 or 2 more Jade Leech off the screen so that way you can activate the ability and make a really long chain during the ability time, getting that chain of 45. So overall, Jade Leech is a relatively simple Tsum to use. If you are a player that can make a really long chain, that's going to be perfect for you. But if you are a player that struggles with making a really long chain, or maybe you don't play with the stylus, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult. So overall, I wouldn't necessarily say Jade Leech is a really good coin earner. It is assumed that's good for making a really long chain though. So if you have any of those missions that require you to make a really long chain, Jade Leech is a really good option for that. But other than that, Jade Leech is not necessarily a good bubble maker or a good coin earner. So for that reason, I wouldn't recommend you to use your skill tickets or using your coins to try to get Jade Leech to a very high level. And if you're wondering what skill level you need to get him at to earn a lot of coins, let's take a look at all 6 of the results here. At skill level 1, I ended up with 1,026 coins and 3.7 million points. So at skill level 1, not that exciting. And that number doesn't increase too much between skill level 2 and skill level 3. And it's not really until skill level 5 where you want to use the 5-4 and coin boost. And keep in mind, these gameplays were played with the 5-4 on as well. So at skill level 5, I ended up with 2,656 coins and 8.6 million points. So nothing too exciting there. And at skill level 5, you would have spent a lot of resources already to get him to skill level 5. So if you are trying to use him as a coin earner, you're likely going to need to get him to skill level 6 to be effective. He does end up getting 3,411 coins at skill level 6 with 12.4 million points. So for score, it's pretty attractive. But in terms of coin earnings, at skill level 6, only getting 3,411 coins is not that exciting. So for that reason, I wouldn't choose Jade Leech as one of my top coin earners. If anything, I would use him for long chains. But other than that, I wouldn't use Jade Leech for anything else. So that's my review of Jade Leech. I hope that you guys found this video helpful or at least entertaining. And if you would like to see more Tsum Tsum content just like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.